Please, that was very sweet but entirely unnecessary, Rabbi. Thank you. Thank you very much. My God, so much to say and so little time, so I will really do my best. I'm putting away my talking points. It's all emotions now. So it is my last year, and when Carolyn and I spoke about, well, what are you going to do on your last Yom Kippur? There's so much going on, Iran and the world outside, and you have to, I said, we got to start with Kol Ami. We got to start with Kol Ami because our number one partner is this rabbi. Quietly, a trusted friend, an advisor. You listen as well, and we listen to you. And we've done amazing things together. And Kol Ami, the voice of our people in Hebrew, is the name of the shul. And your voice is very, very important, not just to Israel, to the Jewish world and beyond. I met with a LGBT leader the other day who was telling me, well, we're facing the same challenges you are. You've got assimilation, we've got assimilation. Modern times, everything is changing, the passion, the purpose, everything is taken for granted. You have a very important voice. You're bridge builders, you're a community that we need. Israel needs to hear your voice. And this is why I try to listen so deeply and carefully when we have our conversations, Rabbi. So I'm not aware of all the economic difficulties. I find it hard to even fathom. Rabbi Eger for us is the head of the CCAR, the largest rabbinical organization in the country, maybe in the world, the most powerful reform organization. So we see you as a person in national leadership. And some of the things that we've done very quietly here, I can guarantee to you, have had a national and international impact because of the leadership of your rabbi. So I was going to start with a joke, but things very dramatically moved in a different direction. But I will go back to my joke. You see the step here and the dais is? So I was in the White House when our Prime Minister, Ehud Barak, who was a little bit shorter than President Clinton, was on his first trip to the White House. And as we're sitting in the garden outside, and he was about to go up and speak as the first time the Israeli Prime Minister, and those were dramatic times, Ehud Barak, Camp David, and all the things that happened then in the year 2000, he was about to go up to the dais, and the agreement was that President Clinton would pull out the step right before the podium so that the tall guy, when he went away and the short guy came up, he'd be able to stand up and everybody would see him. But President Clinton forgot. So if you look back at the archival footage of Prime Minister Ehud Barak's first trip to Washington, you won't see him because what you see are the microphones and the dais. In any event, let me say a few words about Israel that I hope will inspire you on the holiest day, Yom Kippur, which, by the way, is not just a day of sadness and lamentation. It's a day of celebration and forgiveness and redemption and purification. We sort of have to bring it all together, and I think the same also relates to Israel. You mentioned my wife, Myra. My wife, Myra, works for an organization called Project Interchange that brings non-Jewish leaders to Israel, and they've been doing that for 30 years. And I've learned a lot from her experiences in communicating Israel to the greater non-Jewish world around the world, and there's some very funny things that happen. So I'll share two stories with you. One of them was a very senior European diplomat who visited Israel this year on a delegation, and when he was asked why he wanted to come to Israel, he said the following, and this is not made up, this is verbatim. I came to Israel because Israel has excellent PR, and I want to learn this from my own country. And he really meant it. And sometimes we look at Israel in a certain way in the Jewish community, and others look at Israel in a different way from different angles from around the world, including even in Europe. And he meant every word. He meant the startup nation, the technology, the high tech, the booming industry, and that reputation that Israel has in the world. But that's not the only story my wife brings to the evening dinner table. Another story is that there was a delegation of very senior Chinese government officials, heads of think tanks and advisors and strategists that came to Israel this year. And when those kind of delegations come, we take them up helicopters to see the country and to get the geostrategic feel of everything. And when the trip was over and the helicopters were about to land, the Chinese reaction was, "Is that it?" Everything we've heard about your nation, the Nobel Prize winners, the impact of Israel globally, this is all it is? There are Chinese cities bigger than this. These are all true stories. And sometimes we refuse to look at Israel in that way, and we focus on the glass half empty, or as Abba Ibn, our much more able representative of Israel from years past, used to say, we Jews, we don't take yes for an answer. We Jews, we like our clouds without silver linings. So Israel, it's a miracle. It really is. It's not perfect. It's very far from perfect. Just like each and every one of us are very far from perfect on this day of Yom Kippur when we think and we contemplate. But it's a miracle. It's a miracle in the desert. You take your car and you drive in any direction in Israel, north, south, east, maybe west is a little bit better. A couple of hours and you are in a completely different universe, whether it's Syria or Lebanon or Jordan or Egypt or Gaza. And we wish all those peoples well. But you look at the chaos in the Middle East, and that chaos is only getting worse and worse. And then you think of Israel, a country, again, not perfect, but a democracy and robust, with a civil society that is proactive and powerful, and 30,000 organizations that are all over the place doing everything. 20% of Israel being Arab citizens, not without challenges, but with full equal rights that every other Arab in the Middle East is fighting for, and that's what the Arab Spring was supposedly all about. This is Israel. Israel is a center today of water technologies, and think about the fact that Israel is 60% desert, 40% semi-arid, worse than California. In 1948, we had twice the amount of rain that we have now. In 1948, we had less than 1/10 of the population, and our economy has grown by a factor of 70. How is it that Israel doesn't have a water problem? We don't have a water deficit. We have a water surplus. We're exporting water to our neighbors. We're exporting technologies not just to Africa and to developing countries, but now to the most developed countries, including right here in California. So go down to Carlsbad, and the largest desal plant in the Western Hemisphere is Israeli, and the same in Santa Barbara, and the same will be in Huntington Beach. And look at the agreements that we're signing with California, and we celebrated together an agreement with West Hollywood on HIV research, because Israel's researchers are some of the top in the world, and brain science, and health, and medicine, and food security, and water, and the environment, and cybersecurity, and robotics, and on and on and on. And I think humanitarily, little Israel, with a field hospital on the Golan Heights treating thousands of Syrian refugees over the last few years, and Israel Aid, a tiny Israeli aid organization present right now in Greece and in Hungary, waiting for those dingies at night, Syrian families, Iraqi families, Pakistani families, flooding Europe and being met by Israeli volunteers on the shores of Greece, the first Jews they've ever met, with a smiling face and a warm meal and baby carriages for parents, and helping children out of the water. This is Israel. Not perfect, but pretty inspiring. We face challenges, and I won't sugarcoat anything on this day. We face enormous challenges on our borders. Iran is sitting on 3 of them. We didn't like the agreement, you know that. There's a big argument about that, but the agreement came and went, and now we face reality. And the reality is that Iran is there, and it's dangerous, and it's arming its terrorist groups on our borders, and it's sowing instability in the Middle East, and we'll have to deal with that. But the only way to deal with that is to do it together, and to do it through a united community that can speak to each other, even if we have disagreements about theology or about politics or about, we need to come together. And in this country and in Israel, we need to make sure that this alliance is strong, because Israel needs a bipartisan America that supports Israel in a powerful way. This is simply what's in the cards. This is what's coming at us from every possible direction. I don't think I need to detail it for this group, but the challenges are many. But the miracle is amazing, and we have to make sure that we maintain it and that we invest in it. And by investing, I don't only mean envelopes with money, but investing emotionally and educationally, and bringing our kids and connecting to your community and bringing your friends and making sure that more Chinese go and more Europeans go. In a week and a half, I'm taking 2 governors to Israel for a water conference, one of the largest in the world, the governor of Colorado, the governor of Arizona. There's a state delegation from California. There's a water delegation from Nevada. The governor of Utah tells us that the #1 impediment to growth in his state is the lack of water. And the same here in California. Think about your agriculture in California is $70 billion. Your tourist industry is $100 billion. They're both dependent on water. And this is what we can do together. So Israel is significant to us, to my family, to this community, to this country, but to the world at large. So please stay connected to us. Please be invested in us. And please, please make sure that Kol Ami remains a voice that is resonant like the shofar call, not just for years to come, but for generations to come. Thank you very much. Shana Tova.